Hey all, welcome to ShareTreck. Today is 9th of February 2022, and we are going to start by taking a look at the earnings that have happened so far, and then we'll go on to the news items and finally to the technical analysis. On Tuesday, we were expecting Pfizer, which was a bit of a downer for the market. Disney, Toyota, and Uber are going to report later. GlaxoSmithKline already reported, and they raked up 1.4 billion pounds in COVID-related sales in 2021. That works out to close to 1.9 or $2 billion roughly. It bet quarterly forecasts in its first earnings report since rejecting Unilever's bid for its consumer arm. They have also forecast a very strong 2022. Emma Walmsley, the CEO, said, "We have ended the year strongly and another quarter of excellent performance, and we enter 2022 with good momentum. This is going to be a landmark year for GSK." The company said it expected pandemic-related sales in 2022 to be at similar levels as 2021, but said these would contribute less to profit as new GSK, the newly formed GSK after the consumer arm spin-off, due to lower margin on its antibody treatment, knocking off profit by 5% to 7%. So initially, when the news was coming out, the future showed GSK shares up marginally, but later on, the shares have gone down slightly. The market is still digesting the information. And for me, what stands out here is that even GSK is expecting same level of revenues from pandemic-related sales. So after Pfizer, this is the second pharma company which is talking in those terms. So it gives me a bit of concern about how free movement of people and opening up of lockdowns and other mandates is going to happen, because all this is going to impact the consumer services sector, which is like hotels, restaurants, hospitality sector. So those form a good portion of the GDP. And that's my concern. On the flip side of it, if this is going to be the feel, then the chances of interest rate hike get tempered down a bit. So these are the two conflicting thoughts in my mind. Apart from this, Thursday we are expecting AstraZeneca, and we'll see what they have got to say. Friday, Magna International for the auto components. So that brings me to an end of what I have to talk about in terms of earnings. And now I would like to switch on to look at market news. The first news item for us comes from Editas. So Editas seems to be having a turnover problem with top management. And the latest casualty is Lisa Michaels, who is the chief medical officer for the company. She was appointed in the role in late 2020, so it's very, very early for her to go off. She was terminated on February 7th. But the main problem at this point of time from an investor perspective is that they don't have a chief medical officer when their drug trials are coming to some critical milestones. The termination of Michael continues the trend of top management turnover and appears to leave Editas without a chief medical officer at an important point in its clinical programs. Not only is the trial for its eye treatment known as Edit 101 still running, but so is another that's testing an experimental therapy for sickle cell disease. So as we know, Vertex as well as CRISPR Therapeutics are also on sickle cell at an advanced stage. So even if Editas succeeded, it's going to have to share the pies with the other companies which are working on sickle cell treatment. So this is not a great news. When I look at Editas share of late recently, let's go and have a quick look at Editas and see where they are. Where is Editas? Here we are. So Editas shares. So this is a daily candle out here. So if I'm looking at Editas share here, we are still hovering around our resistance, which is at 18.20. We are presently at 1840. So I think Editas might have found a bottom, because after this traumatic injury, as I would call it, they are still hovering around this, and they have gained 91 cents. So even though no reason was given for Lisa to be fired, I think that the market is feeling this is the very bottom for Editas and it shouldn't go down any further. So that gives me a feeling that the worst part for Editas is behind it. Now it remains to be seen whether they succeed with the eye treatment or with sickle cell. They have to have success with one of the two in order to be a viable ongoing entity, given all these problems. That's my personal opinion. So Editas is on a shaky ground, but the investor seems to be kind of giving a signal that, okay, all the bad news is out now and anything further ahead is only going to be good. So that seems to be the answer from the market. If I look at a one-day graph, you can see very clearly that we are above the resistance, and this was at 10 o'clock. So we broke above the resistance today, and we have gained around $1 so far. So I think the message from market is, okay, let's move ahead. It's water under the bridge. That's how I would read this. Now let's go on to the next news item, which is Intelligence Squared US Premier's gene editing debate, February 17. So they have got 2 for and 2 against the motion, which talks about creating better babies using gene editing. Now this goes back to the point I was making earlier about the ethical compulsion that if you can treat somebody for sickle cell, let us say when they are 35 or something, by doing CRISPR edits, why wouldn't you go back and correct that at childhood so that people are born without CRISPR? And if we did that, it's going to clear sickle cell anemia totally from the gene pool of humans. Like from our genome, it will be gone. So if that keeps on happening for all genetic diseases, we are most likely to come up with a perfect genome without any genetic defects. And in other words, that will be so-called better humans or better babies coming up as we go ahead. So does that mean that all these CRISPR companies' success is going to be their own demise? So that's the biggest question. I had posed that to ARK Invest. I haven't heard back anything from them on it. So this is a question for all of us. Put your comments down there. And the other side of this is when we are talking about making better babies, there needs to be a non-proliferation agreement kind of a thing, same like we had for nuclear materials, that CRISPR is equally dangerous and potent. So we need to have some kind of international agreement of, how to control this technology, some kind of registry on all the research that is taking place. It might slow down the research a bit, but at least we won't have some strange people doing strange things, which leads to a big problem for humans as a whole, and also for CRISPR as a technology. So that's my 2 cents on it. And with that, let us turn our attention to the markets. And first, I would like us to go and look at the indices. So in the indices, we are going to look at VXN. Let me go off to the 1-year time frame, which we are all very comfortable with. Each candle here is a day. And as you can see, we have broken down below the very strong support that I mentioned yesterday of 27.73. And that is pretty good. And elsewhere, I've read headlines about good earnings results have been a positive catalyst for the market. Maybe all of that is coming together because we are not looking at all the results in the market. We just picked up a few that we wanted to see. So there must be really good results across the board. So that's why the VXN is dropping down. And right now, VXN is at 27.51. Another reason the VXN is falling is also because the Russia-Ukraine tension seems to be simmering off and reducing. That's another cause. And our next support for VXN is going to be at 26.85. And our next resistance is going to be at 29.78, which is our 20-day EMA, which is this orange line. So that's how I look at this. Today for NASDAQ, we have cleared our resistance, which was bogging us down for a long time. The resistance was at 14,227. We are right now at 14,356, which is this small red candle out here. And we have got a support from the 9-day as well as the 20-day EMA. And our next resistance is going to be the 50-day EMA, which stands at 14,704 or somewhere thereabouts. So that's what we have here for NASDAQ. Let us now quickly look at our biotech shares. They are all looking good. Everything is looking green except for a few shares here and there. Editas, I am really surprised. It has done well despite the news that we had very recently about the executive shakeup. So let's start off with Beam, which is at the very top of the pack right now. The MACD is bullish. The momentum is picking up and going above neutral. And we have crossed over a resistance of 65.12. So I'm going to turn this into a support, which is a positive for us. We are being supported by the 9-day EMA, which is the yellow line, and also by the 20-day EMA, which is the orange line. Our next resistance is going to be at 70.08, and overall beam is looking good. We are going to end the day positive for beam. Teladoc is up 5.89%. We are up $4.12, and Teladoc is still being constrained by the 9-day and the 20-day EMA, but the MACD is looking bullish and the momentum is picking up and is trending towards neutral. So there is some amount of strength in Teladoc. I'll expect Teladoc to end positive today. CRISPR is up 5.62%. MACD is bullish, and momentum is also going above neutral. And we have a resistance which is at 66.36, whereas we have a support from the 9-day EMA, which is at 62.55. Presently, we are at 64.47. We are just being challenged by 64.20, which is the EMA for 20 days. That's the 20-day EMA, which is constraining us. And I'm very confident that we'll break through that. And our challenge today is to cross over the 66.36 resistance. So CRISPR will end the day positive. Editas is up 5.22%. And we have got a support at 15.37. And right now we have just about negotiated the resistance, which was at 18.20. We are at 18.35. Our 9-day EMA is also a resistance for us, and so is the 20-day EMA. So I would venture to say that today Editas may probably break through this resistance we have here at 18.20 and convert that into a support. But I find it difficult to visualize it crossing the 20-day EMA by any stretch. I would be happy if Editas ends the day positive. Given the executive shakeup, the stock is in a weak position, but seems like the investors have kind of looked at going forward after cleaning the deck and looking at a fresh start from there. PACB is up 4.23%, and we have support at 10.37, as well as the 9-day EMA is giving us support. Our resistance is at 12.06, which is this orange line, which is a 20-day EMA. And we also have a resistance at 12.82. So today I would expect PACB to end positive and continue to stay above the 9-day EMA. And let's go on to Verve. It's up 2.99%. It's being supported by the 9-day EMA and resisted jointly by the 20-day EMA, which is at 29.91, and also 29.72, which is the horizontal resistance. So this is a tough resistance. And looking at the MACD, which is mildly bullish, and the momentum which is picking up and below neutral, I would say that I would be happy if Verve ends the day positive. It probably may not be able to cross the resistance of the 20-day EMA. So that's what I'm looking for in Verve. In Intelia, let's look at Intelia. It is 3.21% up. And we have our resistance, which is going to be at 100.64. And our support at is going to be the 9-day EMA, which is presently at 94.23. Right now we are at 96.24. We also have a support from the 20-day EMA, which is at 95.06. I would expect Intelia to end up the day in the green and continuing to maintain the 9-day and 20-day EMA as its support. Let's go on to ARCG. ARCG is up 3.31%, and it's above the resistance which we had earlier of 48.82. We have opened up significantly, so I'm going to convert this into a support now. And we also have the support from the 9-day and 20-day EMA. The 20-day EMA is the immediate support, and it's at 49.99. Right now we are at 50.21. So I would look forward to end the day positive for ARCG, with both 9-day and 20-day EMA remaining the support. Let us look at the MACD as well as the RSI. So MACD is bullish and RSI momentum is picking up and trying to go above neutral. So that's what I have to say about ARCG. Let us look at Bluebird, which is up 2.2%, and we are still below the 9-day EMA, which is at 7.25. We are presently at 7.19. The MACD is flat and the momentum is not that great. So I would be happy if Bluebird ends the day positive or flat. Allogene is up 2.78%, and it is still under the 9-day and the 20-day EMA. The MACD is bullish, but the momentum is very weak. It's just about picking up. So again, I'll be happy if Allogene can end the day positive. Novartis is up 0.42%, and it has crossed over the resistance, which was earlier at 87.04. So I'm going to mark that as a positive for us here, whereas the resistance at 87.54 is continuing to be a support right now, because we are at 87.53, but I would not turn it into a support until the end of the day. I want to see that the price remains above that, so that I can mark it as a support. We still have a resistance which is very active at 87.69. We pierced it briefly today, but we are back down again. So that's my call on Novartis. I would be glad if it remains positive today. Vertex is up 0.61 cents, and it is above all the exponential moving averages, and the MACD is turning bearish, and the momentum is above average, but it's kind of a bit low. So I would continue to expect Vertex to be positive today. It's overall, in my opinion, a good company, and it's in a bullish channel, and also the sickle cell cure is close to the finish line. So I expect Vertex to end the day positive. Regeneron is up 0.28%, and if we look at our chart out here, we are still having a doji candle, which is an indecision, and the resistance at 619.54 is still a challenge that we are trying to navigate. The price is currently at 619.69, just a marginal uptrend. We are constrained on the top by what happens to be the 50-day moving exponential moving average, which sits at 621.12, but we have the support from the other moving averages, the 9 and the 20-day, as well as the 50-day moving average. So that's a positive for this share, and our MACD is bullish, and the momentum is above average. So I'd expect Regeneron to continue to stay positive and end the day somewhere around $1.75 to $2 to close the day. Pfizer is down 0.64%. And we are still above this diagonal line that bounds the bullish bottom of the channel. So I'd expect Pfizer to continue to struggle and end the day above this diagonal line. If not, it will stay above the support, which is going to be at 49.83. The MACD is very bearish, and the RSI is also bearish. So there's a good chance that we are going to break down below this diagonal line. That's what I think is most likely to happen before end of the day. IMTX is up 0.83%, and the MACD is just about crossing over to the bullish side. Momentum is very weak but picking up, and we have a resistance which is at 9.65, and the price is currently at 9.68. So this is the resistance that we need to break through, and given that the MACD is turning bullish, I would expect that by the end of the day, we may be able to convert this into a support. However, our main challenge is coming from the 9-day EMA, which is at 12.03, and that is going to be very difficult to break through. So that may not happen today. Let's go on to GSK, which is at 1.27 negative. It has dropped around 57 cents. It is being constrained down by the 9-day and the 20-day EMA, and the immediate support is from the 50-day EMA, which is the green line, which stands at 44.04. Our MACD is bearish, and the momentum is also falling. So Glaxo results seem to have kind of made the investors feel that the outlook is not positive. And also, I suspect that the negativeness from the Glaxo outlook for COVID revenues in 2022 might probably percolate into the market a bit later, and we may see some overall weakness in the market and a bit of a spike in the VXN. So that's my prediction for the day, and that brings me to the end of the session today. Thanks for watching this session, and if you are new to this channel, please consider subscribing to this channel, and please do not forget to put a like for this video so that we can have greater exposure to more audience. Thanks, and have a great day, and I'll catch up with you tomorrow. Bye for now.